Hi, I'm Dr. Lori Watson and the co-host of Foreplay.
I'm your co-host, George Fowler, former firefighter, your couples therapist who loves to talk about sex.
Woo! Let's discuss everything about the best sexual techniques to building your emotional intimacy, which is really necessary for great sex.
We bring sound, concrete tools to reframe your relationship problems and learn how to fall in love again and feel desire.
Listen to Foreplay Radio on the iHeart app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, you're listening to Marriage Therapy Radio. I'm Zach. I'm here with Laura. I'm excited about today's episode. We're talking about date night, which is something that I've been especially energized about lately with my clients and even in my own house. Part of, I think, the problem is that we run out of ideas or we come up with lots of reasons not to have date night. But we're going to talk today about what that might mean, how you can get around that objection. And then it's really cool. We have a guest. His name is Tyler Turk. He runs one of these subscription boxes called Created with Love. And he's got a lot of really cool ideas about date night and how to make it work without ever leaving your house. And then we have a special offer for you at the end of the episode, which is just in time for Valentine's Day. So for those of you who are looking a way to kind of re-energize your relationship with some fun and some connection, this is a cool conversation. Stick around.
Zach, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How many tickles does it take to get an octopus to laugh?
So my daughter thinks it's 8, but it's actually tentacles.
How do you know the answer to this?
Because I'm very, very educated in the art of dad jokes. And
I don't remember. Yeah.
Got to look for the fun.
Hey, how do you make a tissue dance?
How do you make a tissue dance?
You put a little boogie in it.
Oh, you put a little boogie in it. Yeah, there you go.
I'm going through the dad jokes in our Created with Love box, and I think it's kind of awesome that now I have the power to tell dad jokes.
You don't, though. You only have the power to read cards. Hey, what kind of box are you looking at?
My Created with Love box.
What is that?
It's my date box, baby. Yeah. I'm doing an unboxing and unveiling. Like as we speak, I'm looking at this month's package that arrived at my door.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm up on my high horse right now about date night, and I just really wanted to talk about it because it bugs me. It bugs me, especially when clients are in my office and they're like, "We need more date nights," and I'm like, "No,
you need more
connection."
Yeah, that's so true. So many people do think that that as far as dates, all they need to do is just schedule a date night and then that's going to bring them connection. But it turns out they just do the same thing over and over and over. And often it's just being distracted and, watching a movie or going to a restaurant, ordering the same meal that they had the last time. Mm-hmm. Like you and your wife, when you sit down and they don't even ask you what you want to eat. They just bring it to you.
I love creating that environment or being what do they call it? A regular.
Yeah.
And people too, they freak out about date night because they can't afford a babysitter or they don't have time or they're too tired. And I just think I'm into right now really proposing creative ways to break that logjam. So
yeah, I'm into it. I have something funny to share. So I had asked you if you had ever seen Outlander and you said, of course. Mm-hmm. And here I am thinking Outlander is new. Apparently it was recorded, like the first season was in 2014.
Yeah, it's old. Yeah.
But the reason why I discovered it is, so we have this Epic Wives experiment that's going on, 400 women. And this week we're talking about desire and desiring your partner and how to create and manifest desire. And it was so funny because I'm sitting here doing this live teaching call and all of these women are like, oh, I know how to create desire. and these are like some of my, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag of conservative women and less conservative. And it was just really funny. And they're all talking about Outlander. And then my husband goes on a business trip and guess what Lala watched?
Yeah. I watched I watched the first 2 seasons with Rebecca and then I kind of gave up on it. But yeah, it definitely is this kind of show that has something for everybody. Like if you're me and you want to stare and you're kind of a neck guy, then you get plenty of neck. Yeah. And if you're Rebecca and all you want is this big, handsome, man
in a kilt
to come save you all the time, you get that too. He's the threat to my marriage right now. Jamie.
Is he? Really?
Jamie.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I go a little crazy when I find an actor that I find attractive. I start kind of researching, like, what's your story? What do you actually look like? I do a fair amount of cyber stalking. I'm not super into him, but I really love historical fiction. And so it's doing it for me. Do you think any of it is accurate?
I think a lot of it is. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is historic. I mean, it's based in historical sort of reality that then they plug these sort of magical characters into. And, it's a series of like 9 novels first. I mean, so
I tried to listen to the novel. Ryan and I were on a trip and we are like a car trip or something. And we were going through Audible and he's like, let's do Outlander. And it started. And I almost wish I would have kept reading the book or reading the book the way I read books.
Yeah. What is it? Mindy Kaling. I read it in a book I listened to once.
Yeah, exactly. That's me. So anyway, I've just had this really fun experience around desire and flirting with these women and having these women tell me that they don't exactly know how to flirt and how to bring sexy back. And it's just been kind of a fun experience. I'm curious. Hey, Zach, just FYI, how do you flirt with Rebecca when you're like trying to turn on the desire or let her know that you're interested or whatever it might be? Do you have like a move where you flirt with her?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do. Do I have a move where I flirt with her? I mean, the way to Rebecca's sort of flirt zone, I suppose, is through physical touch. So it's probably me just
do not say groping her in the kitchen. Don't say it.
Well, maybe a little, not groping is the wrong word, but it's just like cozying up or even a foot rub or sometimes I'll just like grab her hair and kind of braid it or something or just run my fingers through it. But that's probably the I'll just grab her hair and by the ponytail and drag her into the bedroom. No, but I think it's got to be through sort of physical touch, or frankly, if I've just not been with her during the day, I'll send some kind of quirky text or like meme or GIF or whatever, just to say, hey, this is where my head's at, and it's more playful than flirty, I think. But
yeah, I don't think my husband appreciates the way that I flirt through text because usually it's like it's like an emoji, like a big eggplant and then peach emoji.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, you can't mind it. I just don't think that that's like going to really be flirtatious or mysterious in any way. I just kind of get straight to the point. All right. Sorry, I got a little derailed. I just was thinking about flirting and all these other things. Should I go back to my box?
No, let's wait for our friend. But I think I said this on a few podcasts ago. I want to emphasize this real quick. Again, because I'm up on my horse about date night, particularly when it comes into my office and people are mad about it or they're upset that they haven't had one in a while. And I think that it made me think again, like it's not the ends, right? It's only the means to the ends, and the ends is connection and making sure that you know that your partner is a priority. And so I've started doing this thing where I said, you can have a date night once a year, which is your trip to Mexico, which we're doing in a couple weeks. Cannot wait to get out of this gray sunset. You can do it once a quarter where you kind of just grab an overnight at an Airbnb and just kind of chill for the night. You can do it once a month, which is the one maybe where you do spend money on a babysitter or dinner or something just out off the beaten path. You can do it once a week, which might be just the dog. We walk the dog on Saturday morning. We put the kid in front of a show and we don't even let him know that we're gone. And half an hour later, we feel like we're connected. Or even this one, like the idea that you can have it once a day if you just make eye contact for 60 seconds, like that can all qualify as date night. And it doesn't mean you have to leave your house. Well, I guess some of them do, but it doesn't mean that in order to achieve date night, you necessarily have to leave your house. And this week, what I'm excited about is, as we were thinking through kind of what to do, we were talking about what it would mean to have date night at home.
Yeah.
So that, again, you could simplify it. And so we found this.
Remove the barriers too, right? Yeah. So many people have excuses why it's not going to work for them. And to be able to have a date night that's meaningful and hitting the end like the means to the end. What is the end? More connection. How do you do that? Yeah. And remove a lot of the barriers, maybe just having date night at home.
Yeah. So we found, we did a little bit of research. We found this guy, his name's Tyler Turk, and he runs, he founded this, sort of subscription box called, Created with Love, which I'm excited about in part because, I got to talk to him on Sunday, and he's really got some really cool thoughts that I think you guys, our listeners, are going to really appreciate. And in the meantime, Laura's going to unbox the box, maybe while we're talking to him, and go from there. Here we are. We've got Tyler Turk, and I want to tell you briefly why we found him, or why I found him. Is I'm a little bit of an addict for like subscription boxes. So I order them for my kids. Like there's a cooking box that we did for our kids. There's I had murder mysteries coming. Remember when I had murder mysteries coming like once a month? Yeah. And I figured there got to be, well, actually I knew.
Your mom got that for you.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I knew there were date boxes, and I had seen a few just kind of around the market, but then I had a client tell me that they got one and it was Created with Love, and I hadn't heard of Created with Love. So I decided to check him out. We reached out to Tyler, and he agreed to kind of come on and tell us a little bit about how it works and why it works. And so welcome, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk.
Yeah. So maybe just tell us like Cliff Notes, 30-second blurb, who you are and what you're up to, and maybe even what Created with Love is.
Yeah. So my name is Tyler. Obviously, I am the founder of Created with Love, so a date night subscription box. My wife and I actually started the company about 5 years ago. And the story behind that is really interesting. We were sitting on the couch one day, and she, like, not accusing me or anything. It was kind of just as a matter of fact, she looks at me and she goes, Tyler, why aren't we as romantic as we used to be when we first started dating? Now, keep in mind, at the time I was engaged to Michelle, so I really had to choose my words wisely.
You still, by the way, once you're married, as you know,
of course,
still have to choose your words wisely.
It was just, I just learned early, but, no, I'll be completely transparent. In the beginning, it was, I was a little put off because we were both paying for school together. We were both getting our degrees, had multiple jobs. Life was just happening, right? So the first thing to go was date night and that romance. And the kind of philosophy was, we'll work on it later, right? Right now we're working towards our lives. But, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that, like most things in life, Michelle's right. And if I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person, I have to invest in our relationship. So what we decided to do, and Michelle's a super nerd, so she created a date night budget for us, which put $20 in that, which for us was a lot back then. When we said, no matter what, we were going to have this date night once a month, and we're going to reconnect, and we're going to try and build that romance back in. And it really started to improve our relationship, not only having that date night, but also it kind of spilled over into our daily lives together. So we thought, hey, is this an idea? Could other couples, benefit from the same thing? And so thus Created with Love was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool.
So I have a question, which is always interests me about entrepreneurs. Like, do you get into this biz because you have a particular passion for entrepreneurship or business, or because you happen to have thoughts beyond, just you and your own marriage about actual relationships? And your wife is Michelle?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's her story now?
So it's really interesting because at the time we were both paying our way through college. I was getting a degree in entrepreneurship, which works.
There you go.
And Michelle was actually getting her master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So she is a licensed marriage and family therapist, which is an awesome combination. So to answer your question, I didn't really expect to be in this date night helping marriages grow stronger kind of industry. It started with me wanting to improve my own marriage and my own relationship. And it just so happened that I'm my partner is very smart and very knowledgeable in this space. And so I grew to have a passion for date night. And it all started with, improving and me becoming a better husband. And then that passion has kind of spilled over.
So 5 years?
Yeah. Yep. 5 years in May. We've been together for 10 and been married for 5.
What have you learned? Like, what can you tell us about date night?
So what's really interesting is when I noticed that there was a problem where we needed more date night, we started this company and we started rolling it. And the idea itself was people kind of gravitated towards. But I kind of wanted to know more, like specifically, why is date night important? And so we have a survey out that we've gotten about 12,000 couples to answer, and we whittled that down. And
that's amazing. 12,000, by the way, is a huge number for researchers.
Yeah. So as you know, someone that is an expert in the field, Laura, I will say that we had to whittle it down, make sure that there were no duplicates. Like the data is as real as it can get. And what we saw, so the survey is really basic. We give people a series of questions and then give them a score out of 100 based on the questions. And what we did is, one of the questions was, how many date nights do you have per month? Less than one, at least one, once a week, that sort of thing. What's really interesting is the couples that said that they have less than one date night per month, or less than one on average. Their total score was 52.5. If the couple has at least one date night per month, their score jumps up to 68.9. And then if you have weekly date nights, which is like impossible to think about, your score jumps up to 73.8. The amount of laughter, right? So the amount of laughter that's present in your relationship, which for us is really important. Less than one, we ranked the laughter 0 out of 5. Less than 1 was 2.6. At least 1 was 3.6. 3.6 jumped up the full point. And then
I have to mention, by the way, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second. Laughter is really important. I'm sitting here looking at your dad jokes that you included in the Created with Love. So as I'm unboxing my Created with Love box, Zach is like, you're going to love something in there. Just wait until you find it. And I found it. It was like, did you help create this, Zach? Were you on the inside?
No, it's really interesting. That's the number one. That's the cornerstone of our boxes is laughter. If we can break the ice and get couples laughing together, that leads to intimacy and leads to a whole bunch of other stuff, which is so
100%. I love it.
What's really interesting, kind of on the opposite of that, we asked our couples, how often do you argue? And then how often are those arguments resolved? Which is a really interesting question, because then we're talking about not just date night, but your relationship overall.
Yeah.
Couples that have less than one, according to our study, that have less than one date night per month argue, say 21.8% of them said that they argue every single day. Which is a lot. And we asked them, like, how often do they get resolved? Ranked 0 out of 5. 2 out of 5 are resolved. Right. So we all know that couples argue. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's how you resolve those arguments, and is it productive? Right. Is it moving forward?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about that? Maybe you're getting that. So Tyler, you said that couples who have less than one date night a week
per month.
No, one date night per month.
Yes.
21.8% of them. What was that number correlated to?
Yeah, 21.8% of them said that they argue every day.
Every day. Okay.
Whatever that means to that specific couple.
So how does it correlate with the amount of arguments? Is there a correlation between the frequency of your date nights? So if they're having more date nights, if someone had indicated on that maybe they're having 2 date nights a month, did that number go down, the frequency of arguments?
Yes. So the couples that have at least one date night per month, that number drops from 21.8 to 11.7.
Hello.
Right?
That's what I was looking for.
And here's the better fit. The better stat is when we ask them how often those arguments get resolved, that number jumps up to 3.6 out of 5 rather than 2 out of 5. So you're almost doubling the amount of argument. So it's not just that you're arguing less. Those arguments that you are having are being resolved more efficiently and more frequently. Yeah.
All right. So the data nerd in me wants to acknowledge that correlation isn't causation.
Correct.
So they're not exactly the same. But but what are you calling date night? Like when you guys ask somebody, like, how many of these do you have per month? Like what qualifies? Is it whatever they would call date night, or like how would you define it?
And that's the hard part, is it's subjective, right, to every couple. When we ask the question, we kind of just want to know whatever their definition is, because it gets really hard to define what date night is. For us, it's called like, I'm a nerd and I like to make acronyms out of everything. So we call it QCT, right? So quality couple time. So distraction free, one-on-one time where you are able to connect with your partner. So in my definition, going out to a crowded restaurant and sitting on your phone while you guys are out at dinner, for me anyways, does not qualify for at least a productive date
QCT.
night. Yeah. And so Michelle and I actually wrote an ebook, which is free, by the way. You can find it on our site. But we took a look at date night and we whittled it down to like 5 ingredients. And like I said, Michelle's a nerd, so she like had to turn it into a formula. But it's really
she loves that terminology, by the way.
Oh, I say this and she will own it, right? So she will own it. Yes, yeah.
There's a Bert Kreischer is one of my favorite stand-up comedians, and he has this whole bit about how his daughter was one of his older daughters was tattling on the younger one for using the N-word, and they were like, and he was like, "Oh gosh, I got to go do this," and they said, the bit is, it's okay to use it if you are one. And so he went down and they were going about it and it said, but I am a nerd. and they all like brushed all the parents that are there, they brushed their heads off. It's like, oh man. Anyway. So yeah.
Ooh, you were making me a little nervous talking about the N-word. But I was like, where are we going with this, Zach? I'm all of a sudden super uncomfortable.
No, but nerd is, I mean, sure, you can call yourself a nerd if you are one. And if she owns it, then by all means, own it.
Yeah,
it's a pet name. Sorry, Tyler. Continue with your research.
So we kind of looked at our lives at first and our definition of date night, and then kind of like talked to other couples, and what we kind of say date night is time plus detail plus joy plus discovery equals connection. And what that really means is the time that QCT, that quality, undistracted one-on-one time with you and your partner, the detail, which for us is being, is putting in the time to plan it.
So just to make sure, you said time plus detail plus joy plus discovery equals connection. Did I get that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Tyler, 100%. I'm stealing this for a keynote in the future.
Take it.
So you know.
You can have it.
Yeah.
So detail was really just being able to plan it so it's not just out of the whim. Like, oh, let's go to a dinner, movie, and escape because that's a date night and we just need that. Like it's something that's planned out and something that you guys are actively working towards. Joy is just laughter, right? And so like I said, that's one of the cornerstones of our date night. And discovery. And listening to a previous podcast that you had, you call it what was it? Curiosity, right? So asking open-ended questions. For us, that we call that discovery, like being able to walk away from that date night knowing one little thing about your partner that you didn't know before, however small or trivial it may be. It's growing closer together, and that leads to that connection.
And you know something that I'm huge on when it comes to date night is novelty. And that's something that I kind of feel like with Created with Love, absolutely every single time a new box arrives on your doorstep, that's the novelty, is you just don't know what's coming and you don't know. It's not something that you've done before. You know it's going to be new, which I love. So maybe like the overall would be novelty. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I had sent both of you a box, and they were completely different, right? So Zach, you're on a mission to Mars. You and your partner have been chosen to have the first mission and set up society on a new civilization on Mars, right?
Awesome.
And Laura, you received the Cursed Cabin, choose your own adventure date night, where every decision that you make, affects your story. And so that's one thing that we try and do is have these really kind of wacky, off the wall type themes. And the reason for that is to add to that novelty, that spontaneity, that joy, and that discovery. Because how often are you going to ask your partner, well, if you were to go to Mars and you only had to bring these certain things with you, like what do you think you would bring? And that leads to that conversation.
Totally. Oh, you know what I really like about this too is that you're touching on some of these different elements. So Zach and I oftentimes talk about these 5 facets of intimacy. You have quality time. Nope, I lied. You have that was 5 love languages. Yep. Intellectual intimacy, emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy, sexual intimacy, and
physical intimacy.
I think I already said that.
You didn't.
Okay. And physical intimacy. And how much would you say, because like what you were just asking was, if you're going to Mars, how would you set up Mars? What kind of items would you bring? To me, that seems like that'd be intellectual intimacy. Do these boxes touch on any of the other facets, like emotional intimacy, like sharing your emotions with one another, or physical, like touching each other?
It's really interesting that you say that, because we actually do try to implement all 5 of those, or at least most of them as we can. I don't call it the same thing you do, but so as for example, in the Mars box, we have it's kind of like Pictionary, but using clay, right? And then there's like certain so we do a lot of touch and a lot of or a lot of interactive kind of things. There's obviously a lot of emotion, a lot of emotional stuff. We did I love the love languages, so we implement them a lot. So yeah, we do use all 5. Well, we don't use sexual as much as maybe we could, or maybe that's a different box, but we have lots of different couples. So on our spectrum, so we have to make sure we adhere to all of them.
Yeah. This is pretty cool. I am looking at the 52-5 date night card deck right now. It includes 5 date night games and activities, which is in one card deck. Is this Michelle's brainiac idea?
That was mine. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Another nerd in the
take
house.
Credit for that one. So the idea behind that card deck was really, we love to send the box out to couples, but we also don't want that to be your only date night. So what we try and do is facilitate as many future dates as we can, whether that's bonus activities or bonus games. So the 52-5 actually comes with 5 different games. You could, play one of them on the couch. You could play one of them at a restaurant while you're waiting for your food, and those sort of things. And it's really just to kind of create more interaction.
You know what I love about this is that I have a 5-year-old, and our rule is that we don't want to be the parents where, your kid's sitting on a device while you're at dinner, and then everybody looks at you and judges you, thinks you're a bad parent. So we just started bringing stuff to restaurants to keep them busy. And a lot of times we're playing cards. And I kind of feel like we should take a lesson from our children in that as adults. This would be so cool, where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go to a restaurant and I want to make sure that I'm engaging with my partner and having different kinds of conversations or doing something different than I normally would, which would be to kind of like say, hey, tomorrow we have to pick up Johnny early from school. And you just have shop talk. So this is so cool that you could so all I would need to do is take this card deck with me to a restaurant, and I could play 5 different games with my partner.
Well, you would be able to play a couple of them. Like you would be able to play the truth or dare one at the restaurant.
Oh, hey,
other ones too. But yeah, and it's actually funny you say that. Michelle and I have this like code where when we're out at dinner and we one of us gets distracted, we'll kind of call each other out on it.
Yeah.
So like if I'm on my phone or if she's on her phone, then we'll call each other out. If she goes, are you watching the football game in the reflection of my glasses? And I'm like, maybe. So, and because that's important, right? So we go out so that we can reconnect, and we don't want to waste that time distracted. So a lot easier said than done, of course, but still.
Yeah, but at least this gives you something different to do and keeps you focused on that. I like it. Shazam. So tell me a little bit about, you've been for 5 years. Do you have anybody else that you have on staff at Created with Love? Have you hired more people to be able to do all of this? Yeah.
So we ship thousands and thousands of boxes to couples all over the world, which is pretty surreal to think about when you think like it started in, our apartment. Like we had so many boxes in one year that we didn't have room for a Christmas tree. So we built a box out of Christmas trees. And I think it was about that point where Michelle goes, you got to get the stuff out of here.
I think maybe you built a Christmas tree out of boxes.
What did I say?
You built a box out of Christmas tree.
Yes,
which
exactly. That's how chaotic it was. It was like so many boxes around. I dreamt the boxes. But yeah. So yeah, we have a full team now. I'd like to keep it small because one thing as a company, what we're trying to strengthen relationships. So we want our team and then our interaction with our couples to have a lot of intimacy too. So we try to keep our team small and talk as much as we can to our customers or our couples as well too. So, but yeah,
very cool. Well,
so
how do people?
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I was going to ask, how does it work out? Is it a subscription for once a month, or could you up the ante to 2 times? I mean, I don't know how that works, and where would people sign up?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different options. We have you can go on our website, createdwithlove.com, and you can buy one box. So we have like one-time options. We have, you can do month to month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And obviously, the longer that you sign up, the more savings that you get, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. And can you gift this? Because I kind of feel like I have a lot of people who want to gift it to, let's say, like their newlywed children, and they want to make sure that they're getting, for example, my son got a subscription box, little passports, which was really cool. And that was gifted to him for Christmas. And I love it personally because they're giving me the gift of connection with my son. And it's better than any toy that he would have gotten for Christmas. And I can just imagine that this would be such an amazing gift to someone that you really honor their relationship and you want to give the gift of connection to somebody that you love.
Yeah. So we do have a gift subscription available. We see a lot of people gift it for weddings, anniversaries, Christmas, and a lot of times just because.
That's awesome. And we have so many wedding seasons coming up right now. Hitting spring and summer.
Well, and this episode's going to go live, I think, right before Valentine's Day.
Hello.
So
that's brilliant.
So if you're looking for a Valentine's Day idea, we've got one right at your fingertips.
Yeah. And
do we have a code or something that we can offer?
I was just going to say that. So right now we have our biggest sale of the year going on, because what we're trying to do is trying to promote
clear inventory out of your Christmas.
No. We're trying to, like, a lot of the times, like, I love Valentine's Day, like, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the times it's like, okay, it's Valentine's Day, I guess we have to do our date night this the one time this year. So I love Valentine's Day, but what we're trying to do is promote like date night all year round. So we're having a huge sale, a Valentine's Day sale for our yearly subscription. And actually, because of Marriage Therapy Radio, you can actually get $5 off of that deal on top of that deal. So pretty awesome. But you can go to creativewithlove.com/MTR. And then the code is MTR. So only 3 letters you got to remember.
What does MTR stand for? Would that be Marriage Therapy Radio?
I think that would be Marriage Therapy Radio.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
We're excited about it. We'll throw it up on our website too and make sure that people can access it. Awesome. So Tyler, thanks for joining us. It was it's really cool to hear from you and hear about what you're doing. And again, at the top of the episode before you joined us, I was saying how I'm up on my soapbox right now about date night, especially my practice, because people get very narrow-minded about what it means and what it is and how it works. And I'm just grateful anytime I hear of another way to sort of expand your thinking. So I love what you guys are doing, and thanks for looking out for our listeners. I hope that they will take advantage of what you guys are offering.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. You guys, after we got done interviewing, I cannot believe I had asked our gentleman, how much are these boxes? Like, what are we talking about as far as costs? Because I'm looking at some high quality production costs and I'm thinking maybe $60 a box. No. In fact, I was blown away that this new Valentine's Day special, you're getting an entire year's subscription of Created with Love boxes coming to your home for less than $200. Here's the other awesome part. If you use your promo code, you save an additional $5. So promo code is MTR. Go to createdwithlove.com and sign up for their Valentine's Day special. I don't know if this is going to last. I don't know how long this promotion is going to go for, but I would say do not sit on this opportunity. This box is incredible. Cannot wait for all of you to start dating your mate at home with all sorts of novelty and fun ideas coming from Created with Love. Hey guys, thanks so much for all of your time and attention, making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.